3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Hello, everybody out there. Welcome to the Valley Watch with Eric Whitson, and I'm Joe Coley. I hope everybody is having a great day. Eric, how are you, sir?
Doing just fine on this fine sunny day.
There you go. Okay, sorry.
And I hope everybody else is doing fine. And look, we're coming up on YouTube, and we should be up on Facebook. And we're gonna give a shout out. I know Tom Rogers is out there. He's already sending a message saying you guys are late. You're late. Where you at? So
and Miss Pat, well, she's here too.
It was my fault today. I got behind some trucks and stuff on J.R. Allen. I could not get around them.
I got caught at a roundabout, and it was there like an hour and a half.
Oh, let's not talk roundabouts. That's a touchy subject in Columbus, roundabouts.
I got caught at a roundabout.
Oh, you're getting caught in a loop here. Let me turn the volume down.
You can turn this volume down there.
All right.
Welcome, everybody, and YouTube and Facebook. God bless you. It is Wednesday, the 20th of September in the year of our Lord 2017.
Wow, where's September gone?
Man, I'll tell you what, where's the year gone?
But hey, look, right off the top, we'll welcome everybody. Glad to see you're joining us and stuff. And let's see, we've already got there's people already jumping on.
And we got
we wanted to look the call-in number. Okay, and I'm going to put it up here in a minute. Is 706-940-0541. If you have anything that you want to talk about today, whether it's positive, negative, what's been going on in Columbus, some of the stuff that's been going over in Russell County, or anywhere for that matter, we've got people that are tuning in from Auburn, Opelika. If anybody over there wants to talk about the quarterback situation at Auburn, or that other situation that's very serious, I know to any parent that has a student at Auburn University, where Tiger Transit, or the subsidiary of Tiger Transit, whatever that company is called, the bus company that hauls students around, okay? That's what that system is all for the students. We're going to talk about the fact that a young co-ed was taken advantage of on a bus. And but where do you want to start? What do you want to do?
Hey, Scott, is the audio okay now? You all are breaking up bad.
Breaking up bad.
Okay, hold on. Miss Pat, check our audio. Are we okay? We should be better now.
Do we have all the...
everything looks good here?
Do we have all the switches on? And
I think all the switches
everything's
up.
Plugged in?
All right. How about now, Elaine? No, Ryan Hearn, no. You know what, Ryan? Are we better now? Or are we still breaking up? Let everybody hear. Give us just a second.
Miss Elaine, if you can hear us, or if you can send us a message, let us know what's going on.
Scott.
He says no. We're breaking up.
All right, Miss Pat.
Yes,
You have the one in the back.
I have everything on.
Okay, still breaking up here. Let's see what's going on. All right, everybody, stand with us.
Well, it's kind of strange, we're coming over the phones. Yeah, everybody's saying we're breaking up.
All right. Are you sure those are to the back?
Absolutely.
All right, hold on. All right, hold it. Stand by. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Pat, pull us out. Come back in.
Are we gonna? I guess what we're gonna do is we're gonna go off and come back on.
Yes.
Okay, folks. If you can hear anything, wait a minute. Now Elaine says we're sounding better. Better now. Okay, is it better or is it really good? Wonder what that was all about. When you unplugged what we did was we unplugged Joe's phone.
Okay, he's saying that.
Laura Morris, you're saying good morning. How do we? Okay, everybody's saying we're good now.
Are we good? Okay.
All right. Let's see. So I need a positive. Well, Joe's kind of said we got a positive message, and we're going to get into that. And Okay, Jane.
Looking good now?
Jane, good, really good.
Really good. Okay.
Jane, really good, really good. Here in Charleston, and we are watching Maria. Okay. Well, anyway, look, the positive message for this week is, with all the bad stuff that has happened, citizens groups from all across the city, church groups, civic groups, church leaders, leaders in the civic community have come out. They've been on TV. There was the funeral procession or whatever that was some kind of a statement. There are the churches that are starting to say, hey, look, we need to have these tabletop discussions. I think it's coming up in October. Of course, we've got the thing down at the Concerned Citizens that are having the meeting on, I believe it's September the 26th, down at the Muskogee County Library. And Joe's going to talk more about this, but the point of it being is, okay, if certain leaders don't want to step up to the plate and they don't want to take responsibility and they don't feel responsible for what's going on in the area, fine. You know what? The citizens can jump up there. We don't have to be blessed off by the Pope. We don't have to have anybody wave a magic wand and say this is okay. The citizens can get together and they can start meeting. And that's what, in other words, people have had enough. They realize there's a problem, and they're going to start meeting and talking about solutions. What do you think about that, Joe?
I think that's outstanding. I was very encouraged this morning looking on the various news media outlets and the paper and some, and it finally appears. Because, that's the thing is, if we start, for instance, let's just start with the mayor. The mayor's on her way out. The mayor's on the second term. She's a lame duck mayor. She's on her way out. So, on that. So,
Bye, Teresa.
Bye, Teresa. On that. So, and then we have several council positions coming up and stuff like that. But we're here. We, the public, we're here. This is our home, our community, and we're here. And I'm finally seeing, and I'm very encouraged by this, community leaders of all races, creeds, and colors are stepping up, and they're not pointing the finger at other groups. They're saying, look, we got a problem. I heard some people say, the mayor pointing out the demographics that we have, this is about 95% in the African American community.
Yeah, so,
that's not a racial statement.
Yeah, but does that really, okay, if we had Barney, a bunch of family, Barney the dinosaur, and we're all purple, would it make a difference?
Well,
people are dying.
Yeah, and I think what the issue is that I think this is the positive part of that, is I think that the African American community leaders, the good people, there are lots of good people, there are thousands and thousands of good people, are saying, hey, we've got a problem in our community, we've got a problem in these neighborhoods, we've got a gang problem. That's right, we've got a gang problem, and we're saying that. We're out there saying that. I'm seeing that on the watch. I'm seeing that in the paper. I'm seeing that in the WD. We don't need to hear it from the mayor. We don't need to hear it from the chief of police. We are saying we've got a gang problem, and and that we can, and there's people that are coming forward with some constructive ideas about getting together. One of the things I saw this morning was people were saying, look, we need to get the juvenile courts, the school districts, the council. We need to get the ministerial alliances. We need to get parents, PTAs. We need to get everybody involved in this, and and that's how we can combat it. Because I think Eric and I were talking about this the other day. Is we are in a community right now that and yes, we're in a gang war. We have a gang war going on, but it's these little factions that we outnumber, 20,000 to 1 probably. On that, 10,000 to 1 on that, and we need to overcome that, and not, and it's not going to be by walking hand in hand singing "We Shall Overcome." It's by getting tough, and it's just like and my example of this, Eric, and to you out there is you all out there is the watch, because what have we shown consistently on the watch? That when we communicate with each other, when we get on there on the watch and we say, we're looking at this people, what's going on here? What happened here? What's the true news that's going on here? On that, we catch people. If y'all remember about a month ago, we had a couple of kids were breaking into house. We got the law enforcement said, "Oh, we don't know what we're going to be able to do." We posted the pictures on the internet on the watch, and in I think what was it, 15 minutes? We had 15 minutes. We had the kids identified, and that afternoon they were down at the YDC.
Well, there's a couple things I want to touch on. I don't want to get you off your train of thought, or
I'm
keep going, or
no, I'm
okay.
going. I do want to say real quick a happy thing too. Guess what? Woohoo! We should maybe have some shirts by early next week.
Oh yeah.
They have been paid for. They're in production.
Yep, they're in production as of today. I don't know how close this color of my shirt is right here that you're seeing on the screen, but it's semi close to a royal blue. But we're taking the design. If you saw the gray design on the gray T-shirt, the design off the gray T-shirt, and we're going to be putting it on the blue shirt too. We took that design, so it'll be in a blue and a gray, and we're also doing a test run of a special kind of like a military olive drab color, just to see what that's going to look like. But in a week or so, say just I don't know, maybe a week. We're going to set up some locations. We're going to talk to some people. I'm talking to Stacy and some people. And you'll be able, I'm sure there'll be weekend dates and stuff, but, we had some ideas flying like, hey, be out at the flea market like on a Saturday morning. And, be in Phoenix City at a certain place. Be over here near the airport.
We may have an open house here. We're talking about having
at the ministry house.
And we're having an open house here.
We may, hey, pull up a grill, buy some drinks, cook some hot dogs and some hamburgers, and
we'll do that.
And kind of swing by like a little drive-through over here.
Come get your shirt, meet and greet.
Yeah, get your shirt.
And and another thing too, and I think this is, I'm not being facetious, Eric. I hadn't even told you about this. I've got an idea, and I want to see what you people out there think about this.
Just one? You just
one? Let's see what Laura says. Honestly, I want to return to Columbus permanently. Mayor Thompson scares the heck out of me. She scares us all. I think she scares herself when she looks at us. I've driven a cab in Columbus for been in Phoenix City 15 years, never faced danger in Columbus. We're working on it. This is my hometown. I ain't going anywhere. But I'm going to tell you something. Here's the thing I was going to tell you. You know how the gangs have all their little gang symbols and stuff like that?
Right.
You know what I think we should do on the watch? Check this out. Watch. Look. Eric, look at that. Look. This should be us. That's ours.
Yeah.
And when we go to council meetings or we see the mayor, we go. That.
Yeah.
They like that.
Well, add that. I still say that my campaign, and it's in its infancy. You have to tell people that this campaign is just starting or whatever. But you, the people out there, can spread it by word of mouth and on your face when you talk to your friends and stuff. And I'm serious. Okay. The mayor is so out of touch with the people in Columbus that she is still in denial after the other night when there was 3 people shot down and murdered in Columbus, in the city, she has still not come out and acknowledged there's any kind of a problem and everything. In fact, she's still on the road to denial. So I'm saying, along with the hand signs and stuff, I'm still saying the campaign. Bye, Teresa. You see the mayor on the street having lunch down on Broad Street or something like that, Broadway? Bye, Teresa. You see her at the council meeting. You see her coming out of the parking deck. You see her coming out of the government center. Just wave and smile, okay? And bye. So I'm just throwing it out there, and there may be a T-shirt on the way. I don't know.
Miss Pat, you got something to say?
Laura Morris said, honestly, I want to return to Columbus. I know, you just got that.
I just read that.
Thank you.
Miss Pat hadn't had her coffee this morning.
I was concentrating on my cell phone.
Carol, come on now. Being civil and smiling and waving at the mayor is not cause for arrest. Come on now. But anyway, hey, before I get off, I've got so many things going through my little pea brain. I want to say that we want to thank the people over at Color Mike 2. Okay, they're a company, a local company here, and they do screen printing, embroidery, they do apparel, they quote corporate gifts, and they're part of Wade Cleaners. And I want to thank Albert, Tommy over there, who's a graphic designer who we're working with. Tommy?
Albie.
Okay, I was told, okay, look, every time I call over there, somebody tells me a different way to pronounce his name. So, Tommy, Tomei, Albie, we appreciate everything you've done for the watch, and he has done some great work.
Absolutely.
And what am I doing with this, Joe? Am I poking this in my ear or what?
You're putting in the power of this. Or, power
you barely gave me enough.
Pull it a little closer here.
Okay. All right.
Remember, we're men, so you know.
Well,
on the side, there you go. You'll see the little light come on there. But you know, what we're saying that they're doing great. They're helping out. There's a lot of people did some. There you go.
Okay. Getting the green light. All right. So
what is this? Says Gail says we had a meeting with her and some more city officials in the neighborhood where the 2 guys were killed the other night. And all she did was make false promises. Nothing's been done. You know what? That's what I'm saying.
Gail, wait. Gail, is this what you got? Oh, great idea, ma'am. Oh, great idea, Mr. Woodson. Yeah, I've been there. I've been in the conference room right off of the office and stuff. I've heard of, yes, great idea. Ooh, yeah.
But see,
great, yeah. And not one thing has ever happened that was suggested.
And you know what? I think that we have to come to realization. Like I said, she's on her way out. She's not going. All she's going to do, she is already announced she's running for a U.S. Senate position. She's going to. So she wants to make things look as rosy as possible when she leaves. So she's not going to do anything. So we need forget her. We need to counsel. We've got counselors. We've got our leaders, our sheriffs, and us. That's our greatest asset is the watch. We're fixing to get. We've got a new. I got huge news. All right, we have absolutely
huge news.
We have. I can't tell you exactly when, but it's going to be within 30 days. It's going to be within 30 days. We will be broadcasting live on the radio also during this, on the actual radio. We have a radio station. That deal was sewed up yesterday.
Okay, good. Hey, Tom, we got plenty of T-shirts, okay? We just don't have a way, we just haven't, unless we've got a road trip out to the Four Winds and stuff, we just don't get out to Casita that, I just don't get out that way too often anymore. But we have not forgotten about you, and we will get you a T-shirt or two. I promise you that. But hey, getting back, I just wanted to color Mike 2. It's over on.
Tom, if you'll call Miss Pat at 706-940-0541, 940-0541 right now, give her your address and we'll send it to you. I will get it mail to you today. I will send it to you today.
So Color Mike 2 is the people that are helping us over there, part of Weight Cleaners, the corporation. And they're over there at 1200 Linwood Boulevard in Columbus, over there on the other side, across, go across Linwood away from the cemetery. And ask for, if you have a T-shirt idea or something, I'll tell you, Albert Tommy, how'd you say Toomey?
Whatever it is.
One of them Alberts over there will get with you and help you design that T-shirt, and we really appreciate it. And, go in there and maybe tell them you heard, the watch people were talking about them, and maybe they'll cut you a little deal or something. I don't know. I'm not promising you. There's no promise or obligation there whatsoever. But really, it's a good company and good people, friendly people, helpful people. Now let me jump. I got an idea that's coming right back around for the 10th time. Now in the news stories about these shootings that just happened the other night, 3 in one night. Okay, we heard that. And then what did we get within a day or so? We got the. What did the mayor say she was? She was heartsick and frustrated with the shootings and stuff. And we're like, immediately we're like, yeah, how many people believe that the mayor is heartsick and frustrated? Okay, what is she frustrated about? They're not coming over to Harris County to her home, So anyway, and then it went on. Hang on. Go ahead. They went on to say that we're catching flack because we don't have a gang task force anymore. Well, you know what? If you go back in the media, the history of the media statements and stuff, they said we don't have a gang task force anymore. Okay, and they talked about this intelligent policing, and now here within the last day or two, what did they say? Somebody got somebody fired up to hey, we need a comment. We need something. Oh, we don't need a gang task force because we got all the officers on the street are part of our they're trained in gangs, and we got 400. We've got the largest gang task force. Well, no. I bet you the Atlanta Police Department has the biggest department and the most gang people on the street. Okay, it's ridiculous. All right, it's an excuse. It's misrepresentation because you still have a homicide section, you have a business fraud section. I'm sure you have a stolen auto card. So I guess all these other sections that you have that actually have names for what they focus on, what their main focus every day on, you know, the crime prevention section. I guess they're really part of the gang task force, okay?
Yeah, I can interject on that. Now, I don't know if this has changed. I'm a bit dated. I was supposed to.
Well, it changes like from week to week.
On that, but I can tell you this, is that we have outstanding, well-trained officers, but I can tell you that if they're juveniles on that, they're not. We were not trained in any. Matter of fact, if we had any type of a crime, when I was a close police officer that involved juvenile, we had to call a specific juvenile officer.
They're saying we're breaking up again.
Are we breaking up again?
Try something real quick. See if you what does this go to rate? Is that power?
That's just power.
Okay, that's just power. Okay.
All right, hold on.
I don't know why. Unless we're not getting a good internet signal.
All right, hold on.
But you know this plug over here is not getting green anymore.
Right,
it's red.
That's right. That's power. That's just going up. Keep going. Keep talking, Eric.
Okay. But you know this plug over here is not getting green. Well, it's coming through the phone. It's coming through Joe's phone just fine. We're getting a good. I really don't know what's going on unless it's people's your individual internet speed out where you are is keeping the audio from getting to you correctly or something. So we're just going to keep going. But no, I just the fact that. Not saying anything about the police department. There's nothing negative being said about the police department, but to come out and say that we don't need people totally focused on this, you know, that this is a problem and we need to have a section of, you know, I'm not saying you got to have 400. I'm not saying you got to have 100, but there's nothing wrong with having 5 or 6 dedicated police officers that's all they focus on is gang issues, okay? Just like any other thing, like credit card crime, financial crime, fraud, murder, homicide, they all have sections over there, okay, in the department. So why not have a task force that encompasses CPD, the Sheriff's Department, the Marshal's Department, all maybe ask for one officer from all the surrounding Sheriff's Departments on both sides of the river to come in and start working together. Okay, it doesn't have to be maybe you can't afford to do it full time, but they could focus on these things so you could include the state and federal agencies into this, the U.S. Marshals, the DEA, because I'm telling you right now, these gangbangers are not running around out of the goodness of their heart. It's a business, okay? Money is behind this thing. So part of the stealing and the car theft and the holdups and stuff, that's a way of getting some funds and stuff. But I guarantee you the drugs are tied in there, and some of these deaths are a lot of these deaths are probably drug related. You've stepped on the wrong toes. People are not getting their money from drug sales, or you're cutting into somebody's drug sales. And I'm thinking, you know, I saw in print somewhere where they said, well, you know, Metro Task Force is cutting down. They're getting these little busts and stuff or whatever. Or these little busts are being made. And really, drug problems not. You know what? I don't believe that. I believe there is large amounts of drugs coming into Columbus. And you're not catching the people that are bringing in large amounts. You're not catching the ringleaders. You're not catching the people that are making huge amounts of money. Okay, these guys on the street that are killing each other, they're just like the little salesmen and the little delivery boys. Okay, and they're making a little money from, you know, their little cut or whatever, like a used car salesman or something gets off a car lot. All right, but you're not getting the guy that owns the car lot. All right.
You know, there's another issue on it too, and I hate this because I understand. This kind of rock and a hard place kind of thing. We were talking about this, but you know, one of the issues with the gangs is that, listen, I'll tell you, I know, you know, I'm not being narcissistic. I know all the judges. I went to school with a lot of them. I talked to them, the people in jail, the sheriff, law enforcement. If we had our way, and the judges, we would hang them up there by the little Buster Browns. There's no doubt about that.
Well,
you know. And there's just but I can tell you this. One of the things I think we got to figure this out, and I don't have the solution. Is, I guess we just have to have a bigger facility. But like right now, in order to keep inter-gang violence from going on in the jail, when we have gang members come in, we house them all together by gang. So all we're really doing is taking this gang off off the street and putting them in with their gang brothers and sisters over here. So they're just kind of like on vacation from the street gang over here, and they're still running communication in and out, back and forth and stuff like that. They need to be isolated and away from each other, and I don't know how to do it. We need to get Sheriff Aprio in here.
Well, that's down the. I mean, that's kind of down the road. You have to back up.
I gotta say, I'm sorry too. Guess what?
What?
And who was it that said that? I think I figured out what our breaking out thing was. I had my phone right up here by the mic, and I think my phone signal was interfering with the microphone.
In the problem-solving thing, okay, the first thing you have to do if you want to solve a problem is you have to identify the problem, and in this case, you have to admit there is a problem. So once you admit there's a problem, okay, and we admit there's a problem, we can start looking for solutions to solve that problem. So the next step would be you're going to have to get behind the police department,
and we're going to have to come up with resources.
You're going to have to get behind the police department. I was talking to some law enforcement the other night out at Outback when they were having a dinner for them, and almost every one of them said, the mayor's doesn't have our back. The mayor, we can't count on the mayor. The mayor is the issue here. Okay, and if that's the case, and that's perception, and that's the morale, and there's a morale problem in the CPD with retention and stuff, we got to find a way to pay them officers. That sounded really good. We have to find a way to employ those officers with a decent wage so they can support their families without having to work a bunch of overtime. And make them feel wanted so that they feel like they want to go out there and give 100%, which I'm sure most of them are want to give 100%, and feel like they're appreciated by the community. And then support them so they can go and do the hard work and know that people aren't going to second guess them and question them. Okay? That is a major thing that needs to happen. Okay? Because I didn't go out and pay these officers to make negative comments. We got into conversation and they brought it up. All right. So the next mayor, whoever you are out there running, you better be pro law enforcement, or else you're just going to inherit the same problem and have the same ridiculous solutions, and you'll be tap dancing.
And see, the thing too, Eric, is we've got to recognize there's a problem. I was sworn in January of 1985 as a close police officer, and we were short officers then. And it's 2017. And most of the officers that I know right now, do you all think that they want, you see them at Burger King and McDonald's and Crystal and they're doing traffic at the school district? Oh, they just, let me tell you something. After working a 6-day shift, the last thing you want to do, even for good money, is to go out on your off days when you're about to fall apart and have to do a job. And what we're having is, what I'm saying is that, if we've got the officers in a position, that where they're going, gosh, I have to work 2 jobs or 3 jobs to make a living. I know people that in the police department that make more money on their part-time job as a plumber than they do, as a police officer. There was a time, I don't know what it is, maybe you can help me, Eric, on this. I know at one time in the Columbus Police Department, we had to have a 2-year degree or 90 quarter hours of college, and we were the second largest police department in the state of Georgia, and the Phoenix City Police Department, which had 25 officers at that time, made more than we made. That's a morale, and then, when you come back and you say stuff like, guess what, we're going to institute this new rank called corporal. The two stripes on their uniform,
right?
But there's no pay increase with that. It's just a title.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
Do we have somebody online, Pat? Or
no.
That was Tom Rogers.
Oh, okay.
He was just reminding me that he had called and asked for a T-shirt earlier, and I did not do what I told him I was going to do, so I'm going to.
We're going to get him a T-shirt.
We're going to get him a T-shirt. Absolutely.
So,
Laura, God bless your father.
The next thing, after we get the morale up and get the pay up, and we retain officers in the CPD and the surrounding in the sheriff's department, okay. somebody from the city. I don't know if it's from law enforcement. I don't know if it's someone from the city government or something. Crime prevention. There needs to be a new program where people go out and these problem areas have been identified. These neighborhoods, okay, and training needs to be offered. Okay, training needs to be offered to the citizens that want it. How to protect their homes, how to protect their neighborhoods, and we have to change the mindset, win the hearts and minds of these people, and get them back to cooperating with police officers when they come out and say, look, it's hand in hand. Citizens and the police department sharing information in these areas, and this mindset of we're going to look the other way for criminals, and we're going to tolerate relatives that live in our homes and sell drugs and steal, and we know they're doing it, and we're tolerating it, and we tolerate it until somebody close to us gets killed, and then we want something done about it. Okay, if you got criminals living in your neighborhoods or your government housing projects or whatever you want to call it in your areas, and you are tolerating those people and looking the other way because you might get a little something out of it, then you're part of the problem. And I'm sorry.
I mean,
that hurts. But you're part of the problem, and you got to change that.
And I don't know. I'm sure you all saw. I mean, it was. I admit it was a little bit humorous, but God bless her. During the hurricane, there was a lady, an African American lady, in one of the high crime area, and she went on. She posted on the watch, and she got on there and flat said, she said, I'm tired of this, and I'll let you people know out there that are going to come to my neighborhood. I'm out here and I'm watching you. And see, you know what? I can tell you, and Eric's former law enforcement also, the number one way that we can combat crime in the Chattahoochee Valley is observe and report.
Yeah.
Is don't approach them, don't go after them, don't go. But when you see something that is even remotely suspicious, and I don't care what color they are, I don't care how old they are, I don't care what they're wearing or what they're driving, call 911.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. And I think a lot of people don't realize this. Yes, they answer the phone. They say, this is 911. What is your emergency? They do say that. But let me tell you something. You don't have to have an emergency to call 911. On the 911, you can call 911 and someone say, hey, I don't want anybody to come to my house. I don't want to see an officer, but I want an officer to come over on my street here. There's a guy or two guys or there's a person, whatever, and I want this investigated. And they will send somebody. And guess what? They don't go up, and I'm not being sarcastic, because I know people get frightened by this. They don't walk up to that person that they go at 2 o'clock in the morning when that person goes, well, who called? And they go, it was Joe Coley. He was right over there. Now, I don't care if they tell them it's me on that, but they won't do that. And let me tell you the reason why this is important. Because what they do is, yes, that is correct, Carol. What they do is we have a thing called an FIC, a field interview card, okay? And now we've updated it a little since I was there. It's now she's done on the computer now. And what that just does is if they go out there, and I don't care if it's at 10 o'clock at night or 7 o'clock at night or 3 o'clock in the morning, the police go out and they'll go up to a person and which is, remember, when you are walking down publicly owned roads and areas, you're on public property. You don't have a right to be. You can be asked why you're there, and what they don't come and go, hey, what are you doing? They'll come and say, hey, excuse me, sir, can I help you? We just had some people that didn't know you. Do you live here, or do you have somebody you know? And if they say, yes, I do, then they say, okay, well, no problem, thank you. Now, if they don't, now they can. Georgia law prescribes that a law officer of the law can ask you and require you to give you your name and identification. Yep. And if you refuse to, they can take you into custody for that. You can So basically, the bottom line is what I'm saying is that if you do that, that officer where you live, there is a beat officer 24 hours a day that rides that area. That officer is going to say, okay, like if it stopped, he's like, okay, we stopped this guy. He's wearing a white shirt, jeans and stuff, and this is his age, this is his name. And the last thing they're going to say, they're going to run that guy on the computer. Now, if that guy if they come back with a criminal record, especially for burglary or something like that, or gang activity, they're going to have an issue with that. If they don't, they're still going to make a note of that, so that in the next morning, if there's a problem. Cameras. I wanted to comment real quick on what you were talking about. People were asking, is it okay to film an accident or take a picture? Yes, you can. As what Eric said, as long as you do not interfere with the investigation. You don't stay behind the police line, and you don't interfere with traffic or anything like that, because that's so else.
And I don't advocate. Okay, I in my military and law enforcement career, I don't need to see anything else from a crime scene or a war scene or blown up people. All right, I've seen all that I need to see. All right, and I'm not for a second saying that we need to post that stuff on social media and stuff. Right? What I'm saying is, in the other day in the discussion, they said, can you be told to turn off your camera? Can you be told to go away if you're out in public and you're taking a picture or you're taking videotape? There is no law, and I'm almost positive about this. There is no law in the state of Alabama. I'm pretty sure there's no law in the state of Georgia. It's already gone to the Supreme Court.
There is.
Okay, you can videotape police and performance of their duties as long as you're not in their way, as long as you're not impacting their safety. And let me tell you something else. I hate to tell you this, okay, and I'm going to anger some volunteer fire people over there in Alabama, but firefighters only have a say about really what's going on at the fire scene and stuff. I.e., don't run over my hoses in the street. Don't crowd my vehicles. Don't come over here and get in our way. We're trying to fight a fire. We're trying to EMS people. We're trying to treat this people. Okay. If you want to put up screens, if you want to hold up codes, if you want to stand there in front of somebody, that's fine. But all these people that say they have this implied authority, okay, I want to see where you get it from, because you're not sworn in. You don't have an ID card. You don't have a badge. You have not been certified by the state. And for all these people saying, well, I'm going to have you removed, I'm going to have this and that, maybe from the scene itself, okay, you can have them back out of there. But you can't have somebody escorted away or sent to their room or something, and you certainly cannot take property away from somebody without a signed warrant from a judge. Now, anybody that wants to argue any of those points, there's some little caveats or something. If you happen to be at a crime scene during a bank robbery and you're taking videotape, okay, they can request your videotape, or they could even get a warrant and seize it. Yes. But if you're like after the fact and you're just out there videoing the police and the performance of their duties, they can't say, oh, well, that's important video. We're snatching it. We're taking your camera. No, it doesn't work that way. And anybody that says it does is mistaken, okay? They have to have go read the Fourth Amendment about 5 times, okay? It clearly states that the government cannot seize your person or your property without due process, okay? And that means a judge has to sign a warrant. So that's all I want to say about that. I wanted to get back to this thing. In your neighborhoods, yes, observe, report, run. You're going to have to be part of the solution. If you don't want criminals in your neighborhood, you're going to have to run them out of there, okay? Some other things, okay? We've got the juvenile justice system, which is a joke, okay? The criminal justice system needs to be revamped, okay? All these plea bargains and stuff, people, these repeat offenders, they need to get hard sentences. The felons carrying guns, that should be a hard sentence that they should be prosecuted for. So the justice system needs to be looked. We got to have places to put these criminals. If these people prove that they cannot live among us without committing crimes, then they have to be put somewhere where we can keep an eye on them, where they can be penalized, okay? And for the people to say, oh, well, you're taking there's an extraordinary, there's these numbers. You have twice as many of this ethnicity as this ethnicity locked up. Well, guess what? Twice as many of this ethnicity is committing crimes, and they're getting caught, and they're getting sent to jail. Okay, I've lived all my life, okay, and only been arrested one time on a bogus charge that didn't go anywhere. Okay, and we're not going to rehash that. We know it was ridiculous. We know it was just to get me to be quiet, and it didn't work. Here I am. I'm still here. But I don't live a life of crime. I pay my bills. I live in a community. I don't use a gun to earn my living. I don't rob you. I don't bother your kids. I don't sell drugs to your kids. And I've been doing it for a long, long time, okay? I just don't do it. And you're the same way. You obey the law. Okay, maybe we've got a speeding ticket or something, or we made a right turn on red or something, but we're not really that bad, okay? But there's these other people that think that the law doesn't apply to them, and they're going to do exactly what they want to do, and that's why they're the criminals. So whether it's adults or juveniles, we got to have a place to put them, and we can't be afraid to put them there. Okay. Now, if we want to keep it from getting to that far, we need to look at one more area. Okay. Families are failing. Okay. The family group is failing. Kids need mothers and they need fathers. Okay. If that angers some single parents out there, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. They need mothers and they need fathers, and the parents teach those kids what is important, okay? How to be good people. And if you get that, okay? And then our schools, we need to support our teachers and stand behind them. We need to look at the disciplinary problems. Why do we have these problems? And we need to get on that, okay? And then where were we going from that? The families, well, I've already talked about the juvenile system is just ridiculous, okay? A juvenile commits a crime, he's home for dinner. And a lot of these kids are doing it over and over and over. And once they have, the schools. Once a kid has failed in school, what has he got? What has he got to look forward to? Possibly getting into the military, okay? And if he can't get in the military because he's burned his bridges, then what's he looking at? Burger King, Waffle House, some other place where, he doesn't feel cool. It's not cool to work and, fling burgers and stuff. But people do it every day, and they do it well. I know a lot of people that work at Waffle House, and they earn a living, and they're good at what they do, and they earn a living, but they're not out committing crimes, okay? But we got these people that have burned their bridges, and they have nothing to do. We got to make the easy money. I see TV. I see the video games. I got to have this, I got to have the money for the $200 pair of tennis shoes. I got to have the gold chains. I got to have this. I got to have a car. I got to, And how am I going to get this stuff if I don't have a job? Well, they've got to steal, and they get into a cycle. So part of this plan, part of these things that I listed the other day is we cannot let kids fail. We've got to have some programs to keep kids in school, and if they can't do it the regular way and get an education going to college, then have some kind of vocational training where they can learn a skill like being a mechanic or a roofer or a metal worker, a welder, a plumber, something where they can contribute and feel good about themselves. Okay, there's nothing. I mean, look, I didn't go to NASA to just think that up. Okay, but people are being allowed to fail, and they're falling by the wayside, and they get into drugs. And once they're into drugs, it's just making it all worse. Alcohol abuse. Once they're in that cycle, they have nothing to look forward to.
And there's a couple things too that people need to understand, because this is not, it's certainly not. This is an issue that the legislature of Georgia or Alabama has to deal with, and one of those is people wonder. I don't care if it's Sheriff Tompkins, Sheriff Darr, whoever, Sheriff Johnson, all the sheriffs. One of the reasons people say, did they went $500,000 over budget or $1 million over budget? Let me make sure everybody understands something. I know, pretty sure Alabama is the same. Under the law of the state of Georgia, now this is made by the legislature, our elected officials, is that when someone is arrested and taken to the Muskogee County Jail up there, they are asked when they're being processed, do you have any medical problems? If they have anything, now I'm not being facetious. If they sit there and say, yes, I think I have tuberculosis, I think they have cancer, they have to be transported to the medical center for an evaluation. Yeah. And if they have leukemia, if they have diabetes, if they have cancer, or vision going out, anything serious like that, they have to be treated, and it's not free.
Yeah, and you're paying for it.
And you're paying for it. And so that's what happens a lot of times is, I can quote, I know of a case, it's been a few years, of an individual that went and threw a brick through a window, and the police came, and he said he didn't do it, got in front of a judge, and he said, he said I'll take it. It was like $200 and restitution or 20 days. He said, I'll take 20 days. Went to the Muskogee County Jail and told that he had, he'd been told he had a tumor in his lung, and he was, and I think the bill was something like almost $300,000 by the time that he got out. That's one thing.
So they're getting free medical care.
I do want to digress one quick thing on that, on the taking the pictures and video. One thing you can do too, they certainly cannot keep you, But don't ever fall into the trap, if you will. If a law enforcement person tells you to leave or something, you need to stop on that, and not because you're not legally allowed to do that. Is you don't want to get to the point where you're disorderly or something like that, and they can arrest you for that. What you do is do what a lot of, like Rob, I've seen people people that are smart do, is what you do is you simply go back and go one street back. Go where you're there in the distance, and then stop there and go, I'm back on, I had to go back to 8th Street here because they told me I couldn't be down on 6th Street, or I had to go up on Veterans Parkway because behind me a quarter of a mile, I was over there filming what appeared to be a homicide or something like that. I did have a police officer tell me I could not film there. So I'm back here. You can kind of see it a little bit in the background. But then that documents that you're there. And then you can show that video and so say, hey, Mayor, hey, Council, how come I was told I had to go back?
Well, it gives you, instead of creating a scene and getting arrested for disorderly conduct or some other invented charge, let's say, you get that police officer's number and his identification and who his supervisor is.
Yep.
And don't make a scene right there.
No.
But file a complaint.
File a complaint.
Okay. And then follow up on it with the appropriate thing. But if someone grabs your property away from you, don't get in a big hassle about it. Just tell them, hey, the camera's $900. That's fine. But the lawsuit's going to be one heck of a big law. You are not trained correctly. You're not enforcing the law. Okay. And here's what you have to. This is not a knock on police officers. Police officers are charged with enforcing the law. The laws that are on the books. Yeah. They are not in charge of interpreting the law. Yeah. They are not in charge of inventing the law or making new interpretations of what they think the law says. They are in charge of enforcing it as it is written.
You can't violate one law because another one is wrong.
Two rights don't make a wrong, or two wrongs don't make a right.
Two wrongs don't make a right. That's it. And what that means is this is very important. In Georgia or Alabama, if an officer in their mind thinks so, if they give you a lawful command, which is like, I want you to leave the area, if you fail to follow that lawful command, even if they really shouldn't have been doing that, but they're saying, I want you to leave on that, then you can be charged with failure to follow the lawful command of a law enforcement officer. Now, so what I'm saying is, you can't, you got to understand, that's the law. Black letter law, it's not Perry Mason. It's not, one of the first things I learned my first week in court as a police officer, I had way back when Judge Land was still up there. Judge Land told me one day, I came in and out of court. He said, that's just not right what happened in there. And he said, son, court has nothing to do with what is right and wrong. It has to do with what is legal and what is illegal on the books. Okay. So, you have to, just real quick, and I'll finish this up, you have to realize exactly what Eric says. When they say that, say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I'll move away immediately. And then you just document it. Because I can tell you what, if you file a formal complaint, that officer will be in the chief's office within 24 hours. And that also
I don't know about all that, but, I'm just saying, don't taking a picture or taking a video or something, of an accident or a crime, you should know that, once a crime scene has been designated, it should be marked off like Columbus does on a regular basis with the yellow tape and stuff. It should be. But maybe you got there earlier, or maybe you were there before the police were there. Don't argue with them. Just ask them, okay, well, where is it you want me to go? If I'm in the crime scene, where am I not in the crime scene and I'm on public property again? At what point? Okay.
Also, I'm going to tell you
it's too easy.
Just for the record, any good law enforcement agency from the feds on down will tell you, and I'm sure you saw the Boston bomber, is the law enforcement very much relies today on exactly that, on security cams, cell phone cam clips, and those kind of things. And because I can tell you, for whatever reason, there's a lot of types of crime that, believe it or not, the offender will be in the audience. The offender will be out there watching. They like to come back and kind of watch and see what's going on. And that's a very common phenomenon. That's why they like to be able to look through, video.
Hey, we're gonna let's see. So I think we covered it from admitting there was a problem, getting behind our law enforcement, citizens in these neighborhoods having to stand up and say,
observe and report.
Observe and report. Revamping, taking a look at the justice system as far as sentencing for adults and juveniles. Our schools, not letting families fail, not letting kids fail, not letting them get into the gang lifestyle or getting into a life of crime, because it's a horrible. Once you're in that treadwheel or that hamster wheel, arrested, jail time or probation, arrest, and then once you've got an arrest record, you can't get a good job down the road. A lot of the big companies and stuff, you look at it, Total Systems and Aflac and Synovus and some of these other big corporations here in town, if you've got drug charges and you've got bad checks and you're a car thief or something, you got about as much chance getting a high-paying job in one of those companies as lightning striking you. So we can't let them fail. And then some programs. Oh, the last thing was, people keep saying that people are hurting and they can't get good jobs and stuff. We need to get some big companies into Columbus, okay? Some big corporations, and some type of retraining and stuff be available for people that are, say, the textile people that have lost their jobs. What could they transition to? I have one family member who was in the tire business, and somehow she was able to retrain into the medical business. Now she's doing something that is totally new to her, and she's working here in the area, but she's in the medical field. She went from the tires, making tires over at Uniroyal, making fabulous money, and Uniroyal over in Opelika went out of business. Now she's over here in Columbus working in the medical center, making fantastic money. So she reinvented herself. So there needs to be some programs for that. So these are just some ideas. They're not all inclusive. And like I said in my post, I may not see everything the way you see everything. Okay, you may have come up through life living another life, or you were taught different stuff, and you see things from a different point of view. But the bottom line is, whatever ideas we incorporate, we all in the community, black, white, brown, purple, yellow, camouflage green, everybody's going to have to come to the table and agree that we got to work together. And that's the only way things are going to get better. And just what do you think about that? Do you think, we've got to talk. We've got to have some discussions. And when I say discussion, it's a back and forth discussion, okay? It's not a lecture like we normally get. You go somewhere and it's a lecture and you're told what to think, all right? So,
and I want to just take one second, because I think this is something that's kind of important that can help a lot of people. We were talking about, I think Chris made a good point there about the officers it's their understanding of the law. I want to make sure everybody understands, and I'll say this real quick, how the process works. A law enforcement officer, whether or not they're in Alabama or Georgia or in each state of the United States, if they make an arrest, they have to have one thing. They have to have what's called probable cause. And it is an accusation of a crime or some type of crime. That officer does not decide whether the person is guilty or not guilty. Remember this, very important, everybody in America. There is no such verdict or no such terminology of innocent. You are either found guilty or not guilty. And not guilty does not mean that you didn't do it. Not guilty means that they could not prove that you did it. Okay? So once you're arrested, you go before either recorded court, and they have what's called a probable cause hearing. If there's probable cause, then if you plead not guilty, it's bound over to whatever higher court, and a bond is set. Then in that arena, they either try to work out a plea bargain on that, or you have the right to a jury trial on that. In a civil case, 6. If it's a criminal case, 12. Even on a speeding ticket, you have the right to go before a jury trial. You wouldn't want to do that, but you have the right to do that. But then it goes to the district attorney's office. The district attorney then sets up a serious crime to go to grand jury, one that is indicted. The indictment is the formal accusation of the state that you live in. For instance, it's Georgia. If you are indicted on a crime, that means the state of Georgia, not the police officer, the state of Georgia is charging you with so-and-so crime. Then at that time, it then goes forward to a trial on that. And in a trial is still in the United States, and in Georgia, you have to have, on a 12-person jury, you have to, for a conviction, you have to have 12 out of 12. A unanimous jury has to find you guilty. If one person says no, then they can't get a guilty verdict. But just remember that the law enforcement officers, and this is very true, I can tell you, I can lie or tell you the truth. I remember when I was a police officer, and I don't know that this has changed, Eric.
Was that before Sherman came down through?
Yes, we had some long rifles back then. But I can tell you that, and we are as pro law enforcement as you can get. We do back Columbus Blue, also is that I can tell you that we had in the police academy then we had 2 hours of law, a Georgia State code, of the Georgia Code on that. And when I was a young officer, I used to carry a Title 16. Title 16 is the Georgia Criminal Code. Yeah. I used to carry a Title 16 in the car. And more than once, we would be out and have somebody that we knew did something, and we'd go, just 1 second. We'd be
absolutely.
Is it that one?
Alabama, we carried...
Is it theft by deception or theft by taking?
We carried Title 13, I think it's 13A. And we carried Title 32, which is the traffic code.
Exactly. And I do, on that, and the last note on that is to remind everybody that please remember that even though there's
you can prevent forest fires.
Even though it's just a river on that, the laws, many laws in Georgia are not applicable in Alabama, and many in Alabama are not applicable in Georgia. And so you better be careful about that because, I can drive around right now in my car, as long as I'm not a convicted felon, I can drive around my car without a permit of any kind and have a loaded handgun in my car, and I can even have it concealed in my glove box or in my console, and I'm fine on that. If I go into Alabama, I believe I'm committing a crime. Am I not? Without a permit?
Having a gun in your car without a permit in Alabama right now is illegal,
and it is not in Georgia.
But they're trying to get that. It's come up twice. It's met resistance from all the sheriffs over in Alabama, or majority of the sheriffs in Alabama. But there is a push to get that changed.
Ironically, in Alabama, which is what you would think is right. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong. The pistol permits are issued by the sheriff. Is that correct?
Yes.
In Georgia, they're issued by the probate judge.
Right.
Sheriff has nothing to do with it.
So
I'm just showing that there are big differences.
And why I say that it's to me it's silly. Okay, in the state of Alabama, I can come out of my house and I can be wearing my gun in the open, clearly be busy on my my hip, my shoulder, on my leg or whatever in a Western style holster. I can walk around the state of Alabama all day long with my gun out, okay? It's perfectly legal. Yet, if it's the wintertime or I want to go somewhere and I put a coat on over my gun and conceal it, or I get into my car, now it's against the law, okay? But you come over here to Georgia, that's not the case. So, and there's other states that doesn't make any sense. I'm a firm believer that our Second Amendment is your right to carry, both concealed or unconcealed, because it doesn't make any sense. If you have the right to bear arms, you have the right to bear arms, okay? So what does it matter if you put a coat on or get in your car? You still have the right to bear arms. You should not have to pay a sheriff money for a right that you already have, okay? It is a tax that you didn't vote on. It just got passed a long time ago before you're probably ever aware that, like a lot of these laws, they're on the books forever. And it's just another way that they make money. They get money off of you for a right that you already should have, I mean, what is it next, you want to go to a football game and you want to wear, you go to a football game and you want to wear your college colors, but you have to pay the college a fee to wear an Auburn hat or a Georgia hat or something like that. Are you going to vote for that? No. So it doesn't make it, no gun owner, nobody that owns a gun that's in the shooting sports or anything or is a rock solid NRA member is in favor of paying for a right that they should already have, okay? It has nothing to do with officer safety. It's a ridiculous argument. you may get 1 or 2 traffic stops. Okay, if the criminal, a felon or whatever, is stupid enough to leave a gun in plain sight and he gets asked about it, obviously the gun is going to be concealed somewhere, or he's not going to carry it in the car, or he's not even going to stop for the officer. But it doesn't protect the officer because criminals and felons don't go get permits.
Yeah,
okay?
Can I add on that? Because one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life, come on, people, I know you agree with me on this. One of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life is at a school zone or government or on private property where it says this is no guns allowed. You cannot bring a gun in here. Do you think that a criminal's going to go, oh, you know, I've got my pistol in here.
No, Joe, there's a sign.
There's a sign. I better go put it in the car. Yes. No, it's going to have law-abiding citizens.
Yeah. I'll give you another example. Hey, you get on the highway and you see those things, those speed signs that say 50, 45, 35, 65, 70. Okay, do those signs keep anybody from speeding? No. What do we have? We got to have speeding tickets. We have to have police pull you over and say, you were speeding, you bad person. Didn't you see the sign? Come on. So you think that these felons are going in to get a concealed permit, or the felons are actually going into the store and filling out the federal form to get a legally purchased firearm? Now, are you out of your mind?
One thing we're trying to point out too is the absurdity. This is why you need to remember that I'm telling you, this is a fact. I'm not being facetious. If the legislature of the state of Georgia, the state senators and House members and governors, if they introduced a bill this month that said that they're making rape is no longer a crime in the state of Georgia, so federal a crime, and it was passed, that would be the law. That would be law. The legislature makes the law. They are the law-making body for the state of Georgia and for each state. But I'm going to tell you how ridiculous it can get, and this is an interesting example of this. You know why now in Georgia our pistol, if you will, permits, CCWs. You know what ours say? Ours says special weapons permit. You know why it says special weapons permit? No, because a number of years ago, it used to say firearms license. By the way, it's kind of funny. In the 1970s, I kid you not, it was called a pistol toter's license. I didn't even know that toter's was a real word, but that's what she said on it. But the one before this said firearms license, okay? And you know why they had to change it to special weapons license? Because there was a guy up in about 4 or 5 years ago, it was a little more than that, about 10 years ago, there was a law-abiding citizen up in Atlanta, got stopped by a Georgia State Trooper. Georgia State Trooper pulled him over, had no criminal record of any kind. He was in a coat tie, he was standing there, and he had to get his registration out, and he said, oh, sir, by the way, I have a pistol in the glove box in there. I do have a permit, though. And he showed him, which he didn't have to have, but he showed him the firearms, and it said firearms license, right? Well, that was all well and good. Well, the guy, the guy that's driving the car, kind of he was wearing boots, got cowboy boots, and he put his foot up on the edge of the car, and the Georgia State Trooper, true story, looked over and he said, "What is that in your boot right there?" And he goes, "Oh, that's my boot knife." And he said, "You're under arrest for carrying a concealed weapon." And he said, "You've got to be kidding me." And he said, "No, you're under." And now that case was thrown out of court, but they went in there and stuff and said, "Well, he has a firearms license. It doesn't say anything about knives. It says firearms license. So he can't carry a knife concealed. He can carry a gun concealed, but he can't carry a knife concealed." Yeah. And of course, the legislature changed that, and now it says special weapons, which means you can carry a pair of nunchucks if you want to. But the whole point is, I'm trying to tell you, we have to keep up with the legislature too. You have to let them know. I got a question. This is a rhetorical question. How many out there do you even know, whether you're in Alabama or Georgia, who your state senator or House representative is, or how to get in touch with them? Good question.
Yep. You need to find out. You need to find out what some of their positions are on some of these things, like concealed carry permits.
Laura, do you mean you can't use it in Alabama? Yes, you can. We have reciprocal. That's what I teach in college. We have reciprocal licenses in 42 of the United States, and all the states around the state of Georgia, but Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida.
If you're taking a trip, okay, and especially if you're going north,
you need to see that.
And you're going like maybe north of North Carolina or something, or north of Tennessee, Kentucky, get up around Ohio or Maryland or some of them liberal, or as I call libtard states.
Massachusetts, that's what
you need to check on the laws because there have been people hemmed up because what's okay down here in the South
Yes, it is.
is not okay.
Matter of fact, and I just had Laura. The reason I know that for a fact is my daughter lives in Gulf Shores.
There was
and my wife and I went down to Gulf Shores. Remember I told you this last Thanksgiving, and I pulled out of a gas station and forgot to put my lights on, and I guess they thought I was drunk or something. They pulled me over, and I said, "Oh, your lights are on." And he said, and when I opened up my wallet, he happened to see on the very front of it, I have on top of my license was my permit. He said, "Are you carrying a firearm?" I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "May I see your permit?" And it was my Georgia. And he looked at it and he said, "Thank you, sir. Have a great Thanksgiving. God bless." You know, so yes, it is. It is reciprocal.
Some of the states, like, I mean, a couple of months ago, maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, we heard about, I think it was a veteran, but he had put a couple rifle magazines that were over 10 rounds, like a 30-round magazine was in his baggage or something, and he got arrested because he was in a state that, or he was traveling through a state.
One of those is New York, I can tell you for a fact.
He may have been in New York.
You cannot have more than 10 rounds in a rifle. Or
he was traveling through, and they checked his bag, and they found it, and they arrested him.
But the good news is there are 42, so there's only eight of the states, and most of them are in the Northeast.
You know, people keep saying, you know, California keeps threatening, you know, if we don't like your state laws, you know, we're not going to let people travel to your state. Well, you know what I say about California? Good. Stay in California with your ridiculous laws and your ridiculous libtard ideas, and stay in California until an earthquake cracks the state right down the middle and half of it falls into the ocean. You know, and for the other people, you know, like in Arizona and Nevada and stuff, start buying land along the California border, and hopefully you'll have beachfront property when that happens.
I thought it was funny. I have a family friend that lives in Birmingham, and they live in Birmingham, and they were going to Texas to go to. This is just recently to a wedding, and all the states between here and Texas, including Texas, have reciprocal agreements with Alabama and Georgia, and so they were flying from Georgia to Texas. But they had a friend that was also going to the wedding that was driving from Georgia to Texas. So they called up and said, well, we have permits. We want to take our, and of course the plane said, no, you can't take them on the airplane. So they simply gave them to their friends who drove. When they flew to Texas, when their friends got there, they went, met them at the car, and then they got their guns and put it back on, which they were allowed to do.
The other thing is, if you're ever flying in and out of the country, you got to check the laws with the country you're going into. Is firearm ownership even legal? If you're in the United States, most airlines, you can fly with it in your checked-in bags, but you got to go through a nut roll of showing them the gun, showing them it's unloaded, no ammunition, safety lock on the gun, in a lock case.
Eric,
they pull it out and they put a big red stamp on it or whatever.
Let's have a little fun for just a second, a little trivia here with people.
Okay.
Because this is true. All right, anybody out there listening right now, Eric, you know this. What do you think? What state has the easiest, most liberal handgun laws? I mean, the best pro-handgun law in the United States. What state do you think it is? And I will give you a hint. It's not in the South. It is not in the South. And this state is the easiest for people, anybody to carry.
706-940-0541.
And I'll give a T-shirt if somebody can get that one. And I'll also give a T-shirt matter of fact, I'll tell you what. When we get them, we'll give a new watch shirt to the winner. We'll put 2 watch shirts out there. How about that?
Okay.
On that. And the other question is this. What is the most difficult state? And it's not New York or New Jersey. What is the most difficult state to get a handgun permit?
Nope, it's not Alaska.
It's not Alaska.
It's not Wyoming.
It's not Wyoming. So see if anybody's got there. Nope, not Wyoming. No, Wyoming is very pro-gun. Yeah, Alaska's very pro-gun.
I think Alaska and Wyoming, you have to own a gun to live here.
I've seen people in Alaska, literally, I've seen people in Alaska have a handgun and go, wait a minute, I've got my marijuana right here. Wait a minute, wait a minute, I got to move my gun out of the way so you can be there.
While we're waiting on somebody to call in.
But there's even when we're more liberal than that.
Yeah, while we're waiting on somebody to call in, we're going to go. I'm going to just tell you right this. We're going back over to Alabama. We're going totally political. And we've got the runoff election coming up, I think, on September 26th between Judge Roy Moore and I guess he's the acting senator right now, Senator Lucifer Strange, okay? And I want you to look real hard at who you're going to vote for if you're over in the state of Alabama, okay? You've got Judge Moore, and you've got Luther Strange. Okay, now, granted, Judge Moore took some. He stood up and he possibly violated some state laws or ethics or however you want, but he stood up. He was a man that stood up and told you what he believed in and what he thought, and he stood tall, to lose his job. Okay, he had the 10 Commandments in the courthouse, and they said you can't do that. He stood up and told you what he thought about gay marriage and what a marriage between is, what he believes a marriage between a man and a woman. Okay, I'm not gonna go through that and beat it. Now, what did Luther Strange do? We had a crooked governor over there who was paying his girlfriend ridiculous amounts of money every year, like $500,000-$600,000
not Arizona,
to be his girlfriend. Okay, cheating on his wife of years in support. Okay, and you can say, well, that's not against the law. That's not. Well, you know it's wrong. Okay, you know it's wrong. All right, humiliated his wife. His wife was probably counting on being married for the rest of her life, and ending their life, not ending their life, but going on, eventually dying together or whatever as a couple. And she was humiliated and put through that public stuff. Okay. Had a governor that removed the top state law enforcement official from his position for not cooperating in some type of cover up or the video.
Hold on just a second. Dennis got it. Dennis,
Yeah.
It is the state of Vermont.
Yeah.
The constitutional state.
So ended up the governor got so much heat. He was getting ready to get impeached. It was coming just like Nixon. And what did he do? He popped smoke and resigned from office. Okay, so we got a new governor. But my point is, we had a district, not a district attorney. We had the state attorney general who refused to do anything about it, so that he would get appointed to the position that Jeff Sessions went on to be the Attorney General of the United States. Okay. However you want to slice it, dice it, look at it, whether it was worth it to the Attorney General to go after the governor or whatever it was going to be, a waste of money or whatever. You've got a man that stood up and told you what he believes in, what his values are, and you have a man that looked the other way. So I'm asking you on the 26th to vote. If you're a conservative and you believe in conservative values, and you got to respect a man that stands up against and goes against the grain. I'm asking you to seriously consider, if you're in Alabama and you can vote, you're a registered voter, to vote for Judge Roy Moore, regardless. And here's the other reason. Okay, you look at the TV ads on TV. Okay, and Washington is spending millions of dollars for these TV ads every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, or whatever, every 10 or 15 minutes to try and smear him with innuendo. They're not making any real charges. Oh, he did this. We're saying he did that. He took money from a charity, or he did this, or he took a pay raise or something. Okay. Was it illegal to take a pay raise? Or whatever. Whatever you want to argue, look into it. That's all I'm telling you. Look at these two candidates and look at their values and their ethics, and then make your decision. That's all I'm saying. And I'm going to tell you right now, on camera, looking in your eyes, that I've already voted for Roy Moore once because I respect a man that stands up and is counted. Okay? I do not respect a man that's in a position of authority and he looks the other way to better his career. Okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. It is what it is. So, well, look, I'm not sure, Miss Pat, how much time do we have left? What time is it?
It is 1:27.
1:27. So we started a little bit after. So here, real soon, we're probably, Facebook is probably going to kick us off. So I'm going to open it up. Is there anybody that wants to call in and has an issue? Is there anybody that has a subject they want to talk about?
I got something I got to talk about.
Okay. Well, I wanted to.
It's good news. Well, it's yes, it is Vermont. Vermont is the easiest state. Vermont is, and that was where Jesse Ventura was governor.
Vermont?
Yes. Uh-huh.
No. Jesse Ventura was from like Minnesota or somewhere up there in the middle of the country.
well, Vermont's the state.
Right, I'm not arguing that.
Anyway, Vermont, they are, matter of fact, the state of Vermont, you do not, they don't even have any permits. If you are 18 and not a convicted felon, you can carry a gun anywhere, any place at all.
Yeah.
They have no, and wait a second. It was Dennis that won, and Dennis wanted to know, did he win an AR-15? I wanted to say, Dennis, congratulations, you did win an AR-15, and here it is right here. It's an AR-15. We have it right here, Dennis. It's the AR-15 pin. Yes, we have it right here.
Dennis, I bet you can't wait to get that.
Dennis, I bet you can't wait to get that. That's the AR-15 pin. Congratulations to Dennis. And for those of you who didn't get it, the hardest, do you know?
The hardest state? I would have to say California.
Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Hawaii only issued 24 concealed weapons permits. Not only do they will only issue to a permit to somebody, they have to go before a board and prove that their life is in danger and that they cannot have access to police protection. And it's that 24 in the state of, I think we did like 4,000 Columbus in the last year on that, but that's it. But Dennis, yes, the AR-15, yes, he wanted an AR-15, we've got it right here. And that even has the removable suppressor on that, which is pretty impressive. Congratulations. 706-940-0541. Dennis, you can call in and tell us how excited you are about your AR-15.
Yeah, Dennis, you just have to come in and fill out the federal paperwork.
Yes, Dennis, call Ms. Pat, 706-940-0541. Call her so she can get your address and stuff, and we'll put it in a little box and send it to you on that.
Tom Rogers said, Eric, I wish I lived in Alabama. You are very correct. These PACs,
the PACs
are too involved in politics.
Oh, yeah. All you got to do if you live in Alabama is you've been going to your mailboxes every day, and the flyers that are stuffed in there, they're not free. They are spent literally. It is the Senate leadership in Washington D.C., the swamp that they keep talking about, is so scared of Roy Moore that they've jumped on board. And then just here recently they said, well, President Trump is supporting Luther Strange. Okay, well that's fine. The president was told, who needs the most help. Okay, that just shows you that Luther Strange or Lucifer Strange, as they say, he's scared to death. He's running for his life. Judge Moore is not getting all this money, and he's still in the race. He is like Donald Trump. He was never supposed to have a chance, and he is neck and neck with this man. And the conservatives are standing tall. I don't care what you say. Alabama is a conservative Republican state. Okay, and if Judge Roy Moore wins against Luther Strange in the runoff, he is going to wipe the floor with the Democrat in Alabama. He will be your next senator. I can guarantee you that. I promise you that. Okay? He just needs your support right now. He's in support. He's pro-life. They're trying to make him say that he said something about the wall or something, but a lot of what he said has been taken out of context. It's sound bites. They don't give you the entire context of what he was saying. They've cut it up in little pieces, and it sounds like he's saying, we don't need a wall. We don't need a wall. We don't need a wall. What? We can't build a wall around the whole country.
Laura, we should break it up.
Anyway, I'm just asking you, if you live in Alabama, look at the two candidates and look what they've actually done, and vote your conscience. That's all. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just saying, vote your conscience. One, on a man who stood up and told you what he believes in and did not back down, and another man that looked the other way. And that's all I can say about it. And if you believe that Washington, D.C. knows what's best for us down here in the state of Alabama, that they're spending millions and millions of dollars to stuff your mailbox with anti-Judge Roy Moore stuff, and millions for TV. TV is not free, okay? Millions of dollars to convince you. And if you read the fine print at the bottom, it says, paid for by the Senate leadership, blah, 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 Washington, D.C., okay? That's not coming from Montgomery. It's not coming from Birmingham. It's coming from Washington, D.C., okay? And, you know, I'm not buying into it. I'm not believing it. And the judge has a lot of support, okay? And look at it. If you believe Washington, D.C. knows what's best for you, then listen to them. I don't personally believe that Washington, D.C. knows what's best for me in my own state. So, anywho.
I think we're about out of time.
I think we are.
Elaine just joined us.
Thank you, Elaine.
Hey, Miss Elaine, you got anything to say? How's everything going out in Smith Station? Give us a report from Smith Station. You can call in at 706-940-0541. We got a few minutes left, maybe.
Yeah, Dennis, I know Dennis is overwhelmed with his AR-15. Okay.
And for the people that are just joining us and stuff, we have finalized the T-shirts for the watch group, for the watch, and we should, within a couple of days, they should be done. They're in the works.
And I think on if you go to the watch page, you can see them on there. Don't we have the design on there?
I don't know if we actually posted the final design. I'll get it out there today sometime. We also have, Dr. Joe has told me that we've got a new set that will be coming. The show is going to have a new look here in the future. We're going to have a different table. We're going to have a little sound stage or whatever here, and try and work some of these problems out. And hey, we got Dale Lipscomb.
And you know, in all honesty, being very frank with people, that's one thing. These T-shirt sales will help us generate a little bit of money, so we could buy a little bit better equipment. And
well, just for general operating costs, you know, for the gas. We're still waiting to talk to this gentleman about setting up a group of live reporters. So, if you want to think about being a reporter. You know, somebody that can go out and take a picture or take a video or tell us what's going on in an area. We'll be looking for some people.
And we will be registered with the Secretary of State's office in both Georgia and Alabama as a bona fide media group on that. So, and we will protect you for your First Amendment rights to do that.
We get a lot of stuff sent to us all the time. People taking advantage of people, things that happen, things, you know, some of the stuff we can do something about, some of the stuff we really don't have any power to really change. One real quick thing I want to mention is there was just a court hearing or something on this daycare thing over in Smith Station that a lot of people feel a fine wasn't enough. And what did I have to think about that, or what did I have to say about that? Okay, you need to do really good diligence and look into the history of a daycare and find out if it's the best place where your child needs to be. You know, talk to other parents and stuff. But what can the people in Smith Station do? If you don't feel that this is the appropriate place, or you don't think it's okay for a caregiver to lock a kid in a closet for some type of disciplinary problem, then you can continue to spread the name of that business, and you can spread it to every parent in the area and make sure that nobody else makes the mistake of sending their kid to that daycare. Okay, if you're okay with your kid being stuck in a young child being stuck in a dark locked closet and keep them in there for torture or whatever, if you're okay with that, then just disregard what I'm saying. But if you believe that this was wrong and there need to be a stiffer penalty for what a lot of parents consider some type of abuse, then make sure that nobody ever sends their kids to that uncertified or whatever it is, unregulated home daycare in Smith Station. I don't even know what the name of it is, but people out there do. And, if it happened, then let's make sure it doesn't happen to another child. But it's just like anything else. You got to be involved. Anybody that takes care of your kids, or watches your kids, babysitters or anything, you need to check them out, because these are the most important people in your life, your kids. And you can't roll the dice. You can't take chances. You've got to do everything you can do as a parent. And I feel strongly about that. I live that on a daily basis. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm involved in schools, and coming to the schools and finding out what my kids are doing good, what they're doing bad, what they can improve on. I've been involved with other daycares in the past where I've chewed some butt because their security was crap and they were making stupid decisions, and let them know. And you need to be the same way. I don't care if it's a school bus driver. I don't care if it's a teacher. I don't care if it's the local milkman coming, driving too fast from your neighborhood. You need to be involved in the protection of your kids. That's what you get paid for being a parent, okay? Because everybody gets paid for being a parent, right? Right? Now, I'm being facetious. You don't get paid. But that's your responsibility to take care of those kids. And we don't have a greater responsibility in the world. If you brought those kids into the world, okay, it's your responsibility to raise them right and give them the values that will make them good citizens and make sure that they grow up to be successful so that when they become parents, they've got the tools to raise their kids, okay? So, and everybody wants their kids to be better off and they have a better life than like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever life I had growing up, I want my kids to have better opportunities. I want them to go farther than I ever did, okay? And anybody that knows my two kids, we're already saving the money for law school because those are the two most argumentative kids in the world. And I'm telling you that one day they will be in Washington, D.C. arguing a Supreme Court case before the Supreme Court. I guarantee you. So with that, I am going to sign off for another week here with Dr. Joe, who has been called my sidekick.
And by the way, next week we now have, and I'll be giving the address out next week. We now have, we want to thank, of course, Chaplain Paul Voorhees Ministry. And on the Chaplain Paul Voorhees Ministry page, we'll also have a link on there to the watch. We'll also have a link on there to the T-shirts where you can buy right from the phone.
Thanks, Carol. Appreciate it.
That's going to go in, and we'll ship it to you, so you can buy them on your phone, and you don't have to send us any money, anything like that. And we have our Back Columbus Blue shirts, and we have a lot of other products. We have our Survival Life products, which we get on that too. But we
might even have by in a week or two, if we get some support. I don't know how many people are interested, but the Buy Teresa T-shirts and the Buy Teresa yard signs,
all kind of stuff like that. So on that, but. Thanks, Chaplain Paul Voorhees, Janice and Paul Voorhees. Want to thank some of our friends, John McMullen at Shooters, Robbie Winton at Money Miser, D.L. Moore at Express Pawn, and all of our
the people at Color Mac 2,
Albie, all those people out there, and Miss Pat Coley, who is our IT person that's back here on that.
People at Chicken Combers down there in 14th Street in Phoenix City. Go down there and eat some chicken stew.
Cook's Place, Roy Cook's is right here next to us. We have, he lets us put our sign up there.
What's that place that you're always talking about, that pizza place?
Really Good Pizza and More. 7042 Moon Road, right there by the CVS. That's the intersection of Moon and Winnesley. And we're really looking forward to that. Miss Pat, you wanted to say something?
If you want some really, really good spaghetti, lasagna, calzone, pizza with anything you can imagine on it, we have a garbage can pizza that has everything, meat, all kinds of vegetables.
Sounds wonderful.
Outstanding.
Sounds wonderful. Well, thank everybody. We'll be back again on Wednesday. And hey, remember, we're watching. We're watching. God bless you. Thank you, Eric.
Bye, Teresa.
And thank you, Mr. Eric. I'm the sidekick on that. Don't be doing these things.
Don't be too hard sick or frustrated out there, Teresa.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it done. All right, Miss Pat, you can take us out, and thank you to all of our friends out there.
Oh, don't take it. Put that gun down.
Ah! Oh, no. Okay, we got it. All right. Bye.